Hi folks, welcome back to Hills and Hollers Homestead. Today, I'm out here just getting ready to, yes, we know, the gobbler. That would be Paxton. So what I'm out here doing is, I'm just kind of laying out the plans for this weekend. What we're hoping to be able to get done is all of this area here on the chicken run, all this fencing that I have. These are 10-foot long panels that are 6 feet high. These are originally sold off as dog panel kennels, or fencing for dog kennels, and I actually got great deals on them. So I ended up buying several of them, well, not several of them, several panels. And then the original one came in as a 10 by 10 with the roof attachment to it. So that gives them shade, gets them out of the weather. And then of course, they've got their entrance and just here. So they've got their entrance and everything right here. Now when I originally did this, it was just this 10 by 10 section. And then I ended up buying another section and then ended up buying a few additional panels and made my whole run like that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to keep this original section. I'm going to take like this panel right here, swing it in and close that off right straight across here. Keep this closed in. All of this over here is getting removed and coming off. And I'm going to put it on the back. Now what I'll do is I'll open up this back underneath here to allow them access under the coop. And then I'll put chicken wire down and close all this in right through here. And then all that fence and stuff will go back here and encompass the whole back side of the coop here. And this area here with all those panels, I'll dump a bunch of the wood chips that I have composting on the other side of the yard. I'll dump those chips in here, get a good thick heavy layer down, and let the chickens and the turkeys and the guineas work that mess in. And what they'll do is they'll scratch around, they'll poop on it, they'll do all that good stuff. And of course, you know, their manure is rich in nitrogen, and it'll add all kinds of good stuff to the wood chips already composting and decomposing. And plus it'll help keep good richness in the ground here. And you know, it's going to foster a bunch of insects and stuff to come in, so that'll help kind of give the chickens something to scratch around in and eat off of. But this will, what it'll ultimately become is, after several months of being in here, I'll scoop it out. The guineas, there's 6 of them things and they're obnoxious. They're great guard animals. They are fantastic guard animals, but they are obnoxious and they're really not smart at all. What I'll do is after they, you know, use it for a few months, is I'll come in and scoop all that out and put it on my existing compost pile and let it continue to compost. And that way I'll have a good nitrogen rich composting material to put on top of my raised beds to help feed my, do like a dress about an inch or so, 1-2 inches thick on my raised beds to kind of help feed the beds. Now this section I did not finish putting the siding up on, and they're 1x6 boards, because the rough cut lumber that I got was green when I got it, and I wanted it to season out a little bit, so I just need to finish this little section right here, put the 1x6s on there, then this will be done. But what had happened was there was a couple pieces that I had replaced, and as they dried, of course, even though they're in a vertical position, as they dried they shrank and, you know, left big gaps and stuff like that. So I wanted it to season out a little bit before I put it on. So I'll take me about an hour and I'll throw all that on there. But this will get opened up underneath here, and all this will be fenced in now. And then as it comes around, you know, I'll keep the back side open and just that section of the front open, while the rest of it gets closed in with the chicken wire and stuff like that, so the chickens don't get in and out of there. And I'm not worried about predators at night, because the chickens go in the coop at night and they get locked in the coop. So, and with the dogs being out here off and on throughout the day, there's not many predators that do come in the yard. The orchard is the next thing after this. Once I get this done, and I've been wanting to do this for a while now, but the orchard, what we'll do is, you see the black plastic around the base of the trees, that's called Typar, and it was a weed blocker, allows water to get down through and everything like that, but prevented weeds from coming up through. And I put mulch down to help kind of maintain moisture. And what happened there is, over the last several years, is the weeds started growing on the mulch started breaking down, chickens get in there and they scratch all the mulch out, and of course all the weeds come back. So the plan is for the orchard here, is I'll take all that Typar up and I'll put layers of cardboard down, plain cardboard, around each tree, and I'll put the black corrugated plastic pipe around the base of each tree, so the wood chips don't come in contact with it, because you don't want to rot your trees. And then I'll mound up the composting wood chips on top of the cardboard around the trees. The cardboard acts as the weed barrier. The wood chips acts as a composting material to feed the trees and help keep them moist and help keep moisture in the ground and stuff for the roots. So there's a lot to do, and we're in, like, this is just perfect weather for it. I mean, it's not perfect today, but I mean, temperature wise it's nice because we can get a lot done this time of year and you're not out here sweating to death. But there's 4 apple trees here, there's 2 here, 2 up there, there's a cherry right up there behind it, there's peach, or I'm sorry, pear, and then 2 peach trees, and then I have 3 plum trees here. So these are some berries in here as well that are going to come out, some blueberries and stuff. They're going to come out and they're going to get put over here where I'm going to eventually make a berry bed. And I've already got the 2 trees picked out that I'm going to fell right here. And these are wild cherries, and they're almost as straight as poles. And if you look around, you'll see a lot of these trees, the tops of them are very thin and they don't have a great canopy, and that's because of the amount of vines and stuff that overtake these little forests and stuff around here. And it's just massive amounts of grapevines, and that's always been a problem in West Virginia. But this area here where we live, I have pictures from like the 30s where of the old mines and stuff like that, where there's barely a standing tree, because they had clear cut. I mean, everything, all these hills around us, they'd almost virtually clear cut everything to build the mine houses, to build, you know, the infrastructure for the mines and everything like that, and all the buildings. So, and not only that, but the cribbing in the mines. So, I mean, there was some trees that were spared, but a lot of this was actually clear cut. So the vines and the underbrush and everything really took over. And this is another reason why I'm going to bring pigs in. I want to bring pigs in this spring and use them as utility pigs. They'll be forest raised, because this is what you get. And you get a lot of thick, dense undergrowth. There's a lot of thorns and briars and stuff in there. But if you look ahead here, you can see the vines. And all the trees, well, not all of them, but a lot of the trees are just overtaken in vines. And it's not just grapevines, there's various, you know, kinds. But the tree tops are very thin, not a lot of big canopy on them. And that's just simple. You know, they're competing for sunlight. So when they compete for sunlight, they're going to grow as much towards the sun as they can, and they're going straight up. So because of that, you don't have a lot of shading on the forest floor, so you've got an overabundance of undergrowth and brush coming in there. So putting the pigs down in the woods, that's going to help them. They're going to get in there, and first of all, it's going to feed them, and secondly, they're going to help uproot a lot of that stuff, get it cleaned out, and then I can go in with seeds, and I can overseed that with good pasture grasses, and create what's called a silvopasture. And that's the plans for that, because now the pigs are eating, they're rooting, they're clearing the land like I want them to do, and I'll be able to go in and overseed or reseed all that and get that straightened up and get that more, make it more of a healthy forest, and get rid of a lot of this underbrush and briars. But that's the weekend plans. So they're overdue for me to move their thing around. I don't like having it right there in the front anyways, but I did what I did when I did it, because that's just what we had. So I'll definitely post video up this weekend as we get this done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right off the end, each corner here with that fence, off each end. I'm going to come straight out, and then across, and then in like this, right back again, and then close in the side so they can't get it out, you know, on that end. But that's going to be the plan for the weekend, and hopefully we can get it done. And that'll be one more project knocked off the list. And you know, typically we're December 2nd now. It's 60 degrees out here. It's windy, but it's 60 degrees. It's supposed to be in the 50s and 60s all weekend, so we got our work cut out for us. Anyways, the whole point of all this is not telling you my plans for the weekend. The whole point of this is good pre-planning. And like I said, this has been pretty much a project that I've had out there for a while, but it's just getting it done when, you know, time permits. And now we're in that time of year where I actually have time off. The weather's cooperating. It'd be a good time of the year to move the chickens. And I'm actually not moving them. I'm just changing their run from the front to the back and getting the wood chips and stuff in here to help get that composted and get that started. So we're less dependent on going other places to get what we need to fertilize our gardens. Worldwide global supply of fertilizer or chemical fertilizer is pretty much nil. At this point, even the big farmers, they can't even pre-order anything for the spring because they can't guarantee that the supply is going to be there. Not only that, but what they do have on hand, the cost of fertilizer, especially nitrogen based, is just went massively through the roof. So when we talk about the supply chains being affected, of course, a lot of our chemical fertilizers is what they use in modern farming, commercialized industrial farming. They've stripped the soil of pretty much all of its nutrients. That is just dirt now. It's not good soil. It has no nutrient value for the plants. There's no biology to that soil whatsoever anymore. It's just continuously tilled and plowed and tilled and plowed and tilled and plowed, and that's why they have to fertilize it all the time with chemical fertilizers, because they've removed everything from the soil. What we're doing is like a regenerative agriculture, or even a permaculture type system, where we're using natural products, wood chips, sawdust, manure, to feed our soil. We're not using chemicals, and we don't want to use chemicals for that. We want it to keep as clean as we can. That way we know that the food we're eating is clean. We know where it's coming from. We're actually making it ourselves here, and the physical work involved in it is nothing, because it's just basically the chemical biological process of composting. Now, I did get a hold of a friend who I wanted to get some good rotting hay, some good moldy, good composting hay to top dress my beds with, to help kind of feed a little bit more extra nitrogen in them through the summer or through the winter. And she told me, she said, I've got a bunch of hay and manure and cow and goat and donkey and all the good. And I said, hey, I'll be up. So we're going to go get a load of that this weekend, hopefully, as well. And I'll put a good thick layer of that on top of our beds and let that feed and help with the composting of the sawdust and horse manure that we put on there. And that'll help kind of feed that through the winter. And come spring, the only thing I should be able to have, or should have to do, is once we plant, is do a small top dress of what we're composting already out here. And that'll help give us a good, fertile growing medium for the plants and stuff that we're going to be growing this year and for our veggies. So this is what you guys, this is what we need to be doing. This is what everybody needs to be doing. If you've got a yard, you need to be doing something like this. If you've got space to put a bed, or even grow in containers, or even get blocks or landscaping stones and make little raised beds, this is what you need to be doing. Excuse me. This is what you need to be doing to start growing your own vegetables, to start growing your own food. What used to be a way of life, 70 years ago, they're calling it prepping. And truthfully and honestly, I don't care what you call it at this point. I'm not going to be a slave. I'm not going to be bound by any kind of commercialized industrial system that just continues to show its weaknesses every time there's an interruption of anything. And the global dependence on the fertilizer, you're going to see a lot of farms. You're going to see a lot of food shortages this coming year, especially with this coming growing season, because there's no fertilizers. All of that supply chain is just getting knocked in the head right now. So you're probably going to see a lot of food shortages and stuff. So again, I can't emphasize this enough. Excuse me. Grow, plant, plan. Get on YouTube, get on Google, do whatever you need to do. Pick up some books, talk to a local horticulturalist, talk to a local greenhouse, whatever you need to do. Get started in this. Start growing your own, and you're going to find out that when you pick that tomato out of your garden, you take a bite of that tastes 20 times better than anything you're going to buy in the grocery store. This time of year, with growing season being out and everything coming from hot houses, greenhouses and stuff like that, you're seeing, and I don't know if you guys taste the difference or not, but I can go to the store right now, pick up a tomato and taste it, and it has no taste whatsoever. It has no taste. If I was to go out here, if it was growing season, I was pick a tomato out of my garden, that's what a tomato's supposed to taste like. So, not only improved taste, but also improved quality. And I know where it's been. I know who's grown it. I've known what's been put on it to fertilize it. And I know who's handled it. And that is me, myself, and mine. So that's what we're looking for. That's what we're trying to encourage you guys to do. Everything that you can possibly do to grow a little bit of your own and supply as much of your own as you possibly can, because man, all you gotta do is watch the news. And I don't watch the news. I skim over the headlines, and there's panic over things that haven't even occurred yet. There's panic and knee-jerk reactions to things they don't even fully understand, and it's only going to continue to get worse. And then you look at the unrest over in China and Russia and the Ukraine and all that coming about. It ain't gonna get no better anytime soon, folks. So it's about time. Like I said, I'm not fear mongering, but if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna be a duck. Otherwise it's an imposter. So take care, get your planning done, start doing your research, know what you can do, get out to your yard with a tape measure, measure off, mark off, and go ahead and plan ahead. And go ahead and get your materials now if you got a place to store them, or at least be ready to get them. I'd get them now. I wouldn't wait till after the first of the year, because actually because of the raised beds that we're going to add to ours, I'm going to be going and getting the supplies here in the next couple of weeks to get mine, so we have it and we can get them built and be ready when the time comes. Folks, if you don't mind, please give us a like. You leave us a comment, tell us what you think. I am having some trouble with the comments right now where I can't see all of them. So if you do leave me a comment and I don't interact or anything like that with them, you just bear with us while we troubleshoot the problem. Subscribe to our channel, share this information with your friends, let them know that we're working to help everybody and trying to get the word out that you need to be doing more for yourselves, more for your family, and being less dependent on the system. Take care and God bless.